Why do some countries get caught up in endless cycles of poverty, corruption, and despair while others prosper? Is it their geography, culture, or something more abstract like destiny? Let's find out. Let's start with geography. The argument goes that countries with direct access to the sea are more prosperous than landlocked countries because it is easier for them to partake in international trade. However, that's not always true. Take Switzerland, for example. It's landlocked, surrounded by mountains, and has no direct access to the sea, conditions that you'd think would limit its growth. And yet, it's one of the wealthiest countries in the world, thriving on finance, manufacturing, and innovation. Now, look at Somalia. It's strategically located on the Indian Ocean with miles of coastline, perfect for trade. But instead of prosperity, it faces extreme poverty and instability. So, is geography the determining factor? Clearly not. Okay, but what about natural resources? It seems logical that countries with oil, gold, or coal reserves would be richer than countries without them. However, reality paints a different picture. Venezuela sits on the world's largest proven oil reserves, but instead of being a thriving economy, it's one of the most unstable countries in the world. Years of corruption and mismanagement have turned its greatest asset into a curse, concentrating wealth among the elites and leaving the rest of the country in economic collapse. Now compare that to Singapore, a tiny city state with no oil, no minerals, and barely enough land to grow its own food. Yet it's one of the wealthiest nations on earth. What about culture? Could a nation's traditions or values determine economic success? The theory sounds compelling until you look at Korea. The Korean peninsula is home to one people, one language, and one cultural history. Yet today, North Korea is isolated and impoverished, while South Korea is a global leader in technology, innovation, and economic growth. If it's not geography, resources, or culture, then what is it? According to Nobel Prize winning researchers Darren Asimoglu, Simon A. Johnson, and James Robinson, the answer is institutions. Institutions are the rules, systems, and norms that govern how power is distributed, how decisions are made, and how resources are allocated. Think of them as the operating system of a society. If the code is clean and efficient, the system works. But if it's corrupt or broken, the nation fails. Strong institutions, what we call inclusive institutions, empower people, enforce fairness, and encourage innovation. Weak institutions, on the other hand, are extractive ones. They concentrate power in the hands of a few, stifling growth and creating inequality. In their book, Why Nations Fail, Asimoglu and Robinson explain this phenomenon using the example of Nogales. Nogales is a city split in two by the US Mexico border. On the US side, people enjoy higher incomes, better schools, and safer communities, while on the Mexican side, incomes are much lower and cartel violence creates constant instability. Same people, same geography, but radically different outcomes. Why? Institutions. On the US side, inclusive institutions enforce rule of law, protect property rights, and create opportunities for everyone. On the Mexican side, weaker institutions struggle to maintain order, enabling corruption and cartel influence. Here's what makes institutions so powerful. They don't just affect one facet of society, they create ripple effects that affect everything. Imagine a fair and efficient land registration system. When property ownership is secure and transparent, citizens invest in their homes and businesses. Banks confidently offer loans using that property as collateral. Infrastructure projects face fewer disputes, and businesses are more likely to set up shop. One strong institution creates a chain reaction of growth and trust. Strong institutions don't just create themselves. They're created by every decision we make, by our leaders, by our governments, by us. The systems we tolerate or reform, the accountability we demand or ignore determine the strength of our institutions. So the real question isn't about the kind of institutions that we've inherited. It's about the kind of institutions that we're willing to fight for.
Subscribe now.